You built your entire sales pipeline around a chatbot. It qualifies leads, books meetings, hands off to your team. And then, one morning, an email arrives. The platform you've used for years, it's shutting down. You have 60 days to move everything, your conversation data, your workflows, your integrations. 60 days. This isn't hypothetical. It just happened to thousands of companies. And if you're using any chatbot platform right now, this story is your warning. On March 6, 2026, Drift, the company that basically invented conversational marketing, announced it was done. Finished. The platform that powered inbound sales for thousands of businesses, gone. And here's what makes it worse. The shutdown came after a massive security breach. So companies weren't just losing a tool, they were scrambling to understand what data had been exposed. Today I'm breaking down exactly what happened, why it matters for anyone relying on third-party AI tools, and most importantly, how to migrate without losing everything. So let's start with Drift itself. If you're not familiar, Drift pioneered what they called conversational marketing, the idea that website visitors should chat with a bot, not fill out forms. The bot qualifies leads in real time. It books meetings directly on your calendar. When a hot prospect comes in, it routes them straight to the right sales rep. No friction, no waiting. It worked. Companies built their entire inbound pipeline around it. Marketing automation, lead scoring, meeting scheduling, all in one platform. And then Salesloft acquired Drift in February 2024. At the time, it seemed like a good match. A sales engagement platform buying a conversational marketing tool. Synergy, right? But by September 2025, everything changed. A massive OAuth token breach compromised over 700 organizations using Drift, including some serious names. Cloudflare, Palo Alto Networks, Zscaler. Major security companies ironically had their Drift integrations compromised. The breach exposed conversation data, lead information, potentially internal workflows. 6 months later, on March 6, 2026, Clary and Salesloft announced Drift was shutting down entirely. The official line? They're focusing on core products. The real line? After a breach that big, continuing to operate Drift would have been a liability nightmare. Trust was gone. The security community had already moved on. Customers got 60 to 90 days before their contracts expire or access gets cut. That's not enough time to migrate years of conversation data and complex automation workflows. Now, here's where it gets interesting. Salesloft named a company called OneMind as Drift's exclusive AI successor. Sounds helpful, right? They're making it easy. But OneMind doesn't include email sequences. It doesn't have a smart dialer. No visitor identification. None of the SDR workflow management that teams actually need for a complete pipeline. And here's the kicker. Migration to OneMind typically takes 2 to 3 months. That includes avatar production, persona workshops, and testing. For most customers, that's longer than their remaining Drift access. So let me be direct. If you're on Drift right now, the official migration path isn't actually viable for most companies. You need to look at alternatives. Fast. I spent the last 2 weeks testing the leading Drift alternatives. Intercom, Tidio, FastBots. I looked at pricing, features, and, most importantly, how easy it is to actually migrate. Let's start with Intercom. It's evolved into a full AI-first customer service platform with something called FinAI Agent. It combines live chat, ticketing, and AI into a unified workspace. Intercom's AI can handle complex queries, escalate to humans seamlessly, and learn from your existing help documentation. But the pricing? It starts around $89 per seat per month. For larger teams, you're looking at enterprise pricing. If Intercom feels like overkill for your needs or your budget, there's Tidio. It's positioned more for small to mid-sized businesses. Simpler interface, lower price point. Tidio offers a free tier for basic needs, with paid plans starting around $29 per month. The AI chatbot functionality is solid, though it lacks some of the advanced lead routing that enterprise teams need. Then there's FastBots.ai. Their pitch is compelling for Drift refugees, AI answers trained on your existing content, website deployment, multi-channel reach, and live chat handoff all in one package. What caught my attention? Small businesses switching from Drift to alternatives like FastBots report 80 to 90% cost drops and dramatically faster setup, minutes instead of weeks. Now, I know what you're thinking. These tools all sound similar. How do you actually choose? Here's my framework. First, you might want to ask, is my primary use case sales or support? Intercom leans heavily towards support. FastBots is more sales-focused. Tidio sits in the middle. Second, consider asking yourself, can I export my data easily? If a platform doesn't let you take your conversation history and training data with you, you're just trading one lock-in for another. This is actually the bigger lesson here. The global chatbot market is valued at $7.76 billion as of 2024, projected to hit $27 billion by 2030. That's a lot of growth and a lot of churn. Platforms will come and go. Some will get acquired. Some will pivot. Some will have security breaches that force them to shut down. That's just the reality now. The question isn't whether your tools will change. The question is whether you built in enough portability to survive when they do. So here's what I'd recommend if you're on Drift right now. Start migration today, not next week. Every day you wait is a day you don't have. Before anything else, consider exporting all your conversation data and lead information from Drift. This data is valuable for training whatever chatbot you move to. Don't leave it behind. It may help to audit your current chatbot dependencies. Can you export your bot logic, your training data, your conversation history? If not, you might want to prioritize platforms that offer this portability. When evaluating new platforms, you may want to prioritize data portability and API access over proprietary features. The fancy custom stuff won't matter if you're locked in again. And here's something worth considering. Do you even need a full conversational marketing platform? For a lot of businesses, a simpler live chat plus form solution would work just as well, with way less platform risk. The Drift Shutdown isn't just about one company failing. It's a case study in what happens when you build critical infrastructure on someone else's platform without an exit strategy. The security breach wasn't Drift's fault in the sense that no company is immune to attacks, but how they handled the aftermath, the short timeline, the inadequate successor, that's the lesson. If this kind of thing interests you, the real stories behind AI tool failures and successes, hit subscribe. We cover situations like this every week. Now, I want to be fair to Salesloft here. Post-breach, shutting down Drift was probably the responsible choice. Continuing to operate compromised infrastructure would have been worse. But 60 to 90 days? For enterprise customers with complex integrations, custom workflows, and years of conversation history, that's not a migration window. That's a fire drill. I talked to several Drift customers this week. The stories are frustrating. Years of conversation data that might not transfer cleanly, custom integrations that have to be rebuilt from scratch, lead scoring models trained on thousands of interactions. Those don't just export to a new platform. You're essentially starting over. So what's the actual playbook? Here's what I'd suggest. Step 1. Don't wait for the deadline. Start evaluating alternatives this week. Step 2. You might want to request your full data export from Drift immediately. Get that process started even before you've chosen a new platform. The export takes time. Step 3. Consider documenting every custom workflow you've built, every integration, every automation rule. You'll need this map when you're rebuilding on a new platform. Step 4. Run parallel systems if possible. Get your new chatbot set up on a test domain while Drift is still running. Compare the experience before fully cutting over. And step 5, this one's for the future. It may help to build your next chatbot setup with portability in mind from day one. Document everything. Own your training data. Test exports regularly. Look, I'm not here to tell you that chatbots are bad or that you should avoid third-party platforms. That's not realistic. These tools provide real value. But the Drift situation should make everyone pause and think. What would happen to my business if this tool disappeared in 60 days? If you don't have a good answer, that's your project for this week. The companies that will do best through this transition are the ones who treated their chatbot as infrastructure, not magic. They documented their workflows. They tested their exports. They had a plan. The companies struggling right now, they're the ones who said it and forgot it. Who trusted that the platform would always be there? Who never asked, what if? So that's the Drift story. A pioneer in conversational marketing acquired, breached, and shutting down. Thousands of companies scrambling with barely enough time to migrate. The lesson isn't that AI tools are risky. The lesson is that any tool becomes risky when you build on it without an exit strategy. Portability isn't a feature, it's insurance. Next week, we're testing AI tools for a completely different use case, one where the stakes are lower and the options are surprisingly good. See you then.